Carnegie and Frick now controlled their labor costs everywhere, except at Homestead, where the Amalgamated was entrenched. They had introduced the most modern machinery and technology at Homestead. The mill now required fewer workers, and the skills needed were not the obsolete skills of the old craftsmen, the puddlers. Yet it was these craftsmen who ran the union, and, unlike Carnegie's non-union mills, had a say in who was hired and how the work was done. No one believed more in the union cause than Homestead's activist mayor, John McLuckie.
John McLuckie and his associates in Homestead believed above all in the idea that all American workers should be entitled to a job, a livelihood, and to having a sufficiency of means for living comfortably. They believed that this was an essential American right, and that individuals such as Carnegie couldn't be allowed to continue to accumulate wealth unfettered, untrammeled, and that the power, the wealth that the Homestead Steelworks represented, and the power and wealth that Carnegie had over the lives of ordinary workers such as McLuckie and his associates was tyranny. It was a step backward, not a step forward.
In the spring of 1892, Carnegie had Frick roll as much armor plate as possible before the union's contract expired at the end of June. America's largest steel producer had decided to eliminate America's largest craft union. How they would do it was still uncertain. Carnegie departed for his usual lengthy vacation, but this year at Lochrannoch, in the remote Scottish Highlands. Better that a champion of unions about to crush one be inaccessible to the press. If Frick's terms were not accepted, Carnegie instructed him to close the plant and wait the men out. Later, he gave Frick more leeway. "We approve of anything you do," he wrote from England. "We are with you to the end." What Frick did was build a fence 3 miles long and 11 feet high around the entire plant. The workers called it Fort Frick. On June 25th, Frick announced the company would no longer negotiate with the union, but only with workers individually. Leaders of the Amalgamated were willing to concede on every issue to save their union. They tried to reach Carnegie in Scotland, the Carnegie who took no man's job, but could not find him. "This is your chance to reorganize the whole affair," Carnegie wrote Frick. "Exact good reasons for employing every man. Far too many men required by amalgamated rules." Carnegie did not believe there would be much of a struggle. He gambled the workers would rather keep their jobs than their union. But they stood firm. At the end of June, Frick began closing down his open hearth and armor plate mills. He locked out 1,100 men. On July 1st, the remaining 2,400 went on strike. The furnaces that roared like 100 lions were quiet. The mills that thundered like cannon were still. Frick planned to open on July 6th and replace union workers with a non-union workforce.